Midway through Game 3, the New York Knicks were up 7 points, at home, in a deafening Madison Square Garden, riding a 13-game playoff winning streak. They looked completely in control of a game that would have all but ended the series, and then they lost. So I went back and rebuilt the entire game as a win probability curve to find the single moment it all slipped away. It is not the moment you'd guess. A quick note on how I did this. I built a win probability estimate from the actual flow of the game, the score, the time, and the swings the play-by-play describes. It's a model, not a perfect possession-by-possession readout, and I'll label it as an estimate. But it's grounded in what really happened, and it points very clearly at one stretch where this game turned for good. This is Game is Culture. Real quick before we dig in, if you like breakdowns that actually show the math instead of just yelling takes at you, go hit subscribe. It's free and it genuinely helps, so click it. First, the Knicks high point. New York's best moment came in the second quarter, and it was a blitz. The Knicks outscored the Spurs 42-24 in that frame, 42 points in a single quarter. OG Anunoby alone was a plus 21 in his 9 minutes on the floor. The Garden was shaking, and New York walked into the second half with a 7-point lead and total momentum. At that exact moment, everything pointed to a Knicks win. Up 7, at home, crowd roaring, on a 13-game playoff streak, against a team that had to win or essentially be finished. If you'd stopped the game there and asked who wins, the answer was overwhelmingly New York. That's the peak of their night, and it's the last time they were really in control. Put a number on it. By my model, riding that second quarter blitz and a 7-point lead, the Knicks win probability peaked up around 72%, nearly 3-4. For a home team with a lead and that kind of momentum, that's a commanding spot. Remember that number, 72, because of where it's about to go. Now the collapse. Here's the whole game. Slide through the entire game as a win probability curve. It starts even. It climbs as the Knicks blitz the second quarter, peaking up near 72. And then watch what happens in the third. The line falls off a cliff. The Spurs counterpunch, the lead flips, and New York's odds crater from commanding to losing in a single quarter. That third quarter is the moment. This is a modeled estimate, but the shape is unmistakable. So there it is, not the final seconds, not one buzzer beater. The exact moment the Knicks lost Game 3 was the third quarter when the Spurs threw their counterpunch and the lead changed hands for good. New York went from a 72% favorite to an underdog in about 12 minutes of game time, and they never climbed back on top. The dagger wasn't dramatic, it was a quarter. And here's why the third quarter flipped it. Wembanyama and Stephon took over for San Antonio, while New York's offense went quiet. The 42-point explosion from the second quarter just stopped. Brunson kept firing without efficiency, Towns couldn't get going, and a 7-point lead evaporated into a deficit. The Knicks didn't get blown out, they got outscored at the worst possible time. Quick interruption, because now's the time. If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe. I'm not going to beg, but I am going to ask. So hit it, and I'll keep going. But the Knicks did make one last push. To their credit, New York didn't go away quietly. In the final minutes of the fourth, they mounted a late rally and got it close, briefly nudging their odds back up. You can see it on the curve, that little bump near the end. But the Spurs held on in the final seconds. So the late rally wasn't the moment they lost it. It was the moment they ran out of time to fix what the third quarter broke. Measure the whole swing. The Knicks went from a roughly 72% favorite, up 7 in the second quarter, to a loss. That's a collapse of about 72 points of win probability, and the bulk of it happened in one third quarter stretch. When you lose 3/4 of your win probability in 12 minutes, that's not bad luck at the buzzer. That's a turning point you can pinpoint. So why did the lead disappear? Here's the uncomfortable truth for New York. That 42-point second quarter was never sustainable. A huge chunk of it was OG Anunoby getting hot for a 9-minute stretch. When that cooled off, the Knicks had no second engine to keep it going, because their most efficient player, Towns, was quiet, and their highest volume scorer, Brunson, was inefficient. The lead was built on a heater, and heaters end. Now the honest caveat, because I promised the math would be transparent, this is a win probability model, not a perfect possession by possession ledger. The exact percentages are estimates, and no single quarter has one villain, but the shape of the game is verified by the play-by-play. The Knicks led by 7, the Spurs counterpunched in the third, and they held on late. The model just puts a number on a collapse everyone watching felt. And that's the lesson hiding in the curve. We remember games by their endings, the final shot, the last whistle. But this game wasn't decided in the final seconds. It was decided in a quiet third quarter when a 7-point lead turned into a deficit and a 13-game winning streak quietly died. The biggest moments in basketball aren't always the loudest ones. So if you're a Knicks fan looking for what went wrong, don't replay the final minute. Replay the third quarter. That's where a winnable game and a chance to go up 3-0 slip through their fingers. Fix the third quarter scoring droughts, and this is a very different series. Keep losing the quiet middle stretches, and the Spurs will keep stealing games. And don't lose sight of what died in that third quarter. New York carried a 13-game playoff winning streak into Game 3, one of the longest runs in recent postseason history. It didn't end on a dramatic final shot. It ended in a quiet 12-minute stretch where they simply stopped scoring. That's how most great streaks actually die, not in a blaze, but in a lull nobody circles until it's already over. And it fits the pattern of this entire series. Every game has been a third quarter story. Whoever wins that middle stretch has controlled the night. So the Knicks' problem isn't effort or talent. It's a recurring third quarter lull, the exact window where the Spurs' depth and Wembanyama keep taking over. Win that quarter in Game 4 and the math flips right back to New York. And that's why I love mapping a game this way instead of just reading the final score. The box score says 4-point loss, the curve says blown 7-point lead, and a 72% collapse. Those are very different stories. One sounds like a coin flip. The other tells you exactly where and exactly why a team let a winnable finals game get away. So that's the exact moment the Knicks lost Game 3. Not a buzzer beater, but a third quarter collapse that wiped out a 7-point lead and a 72% win probability. Do you agree the third quarter was the turning point, or do you think it was lost somewhere else? Tell me where down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe. We're in a race to 1,000 subscribers, so please join the family.